we'll start with the dollar because of course the dollar's the main focus as always, and it is looking pretty bullish, and it's coming up to some areas where I do think on the higher time frames we can see some downside if the market rejects these same areas. So the area I'm looking at for the DXY is this area here, alongside with this descending trend line here as well, connecting those previous lower highs, 1, 2, 3, and now looking for potentially a fourth in that area. So if we can reject 105,500, which is that area I'm looking at, there is a lot of room to the downside for the USD, potentially seeing another swing like we did previously, like we did over there, like we did over there. We could see another swing to the downside, which takes us all the way back to the lows of that same range. So there's a lot of room to the downside for USD if we can reject this area. And of course, there's a lot of room to the upside as well, because overall USD has been consolidating, from mid 2023 to pretty much all 2024 been consolidating. So whichever way price breaks out, there's a big move to be had, whether we're going to continue back to the highs or have a big drop. At the moment, we're coming to an area where this is where sellers are lurking. Buyers be looking to take profit, and we could be seeing price turning around. So I'm keeping a close eye on that for USD. At the moment, things look pretty bullish still. So shorting's always going to be a bit difficult now. But these are the prices where I do expect price to have some struggle and possibly turn around. You can see prices back at that high now, starting to struggle there as well. You might kind of pinch that, but generally speaking, this is the zone I'm looking for price to hold and see some downside. So I do have a bearish bias on USD longer term, as long as we trade below these prices. Of course, if we break out, I'll reanalyze and see where we can go from there. But as long as we can hold these prices, I am looking for USD to turn around. And looking at EURUSD, I'm kind of in the same boat as well. I'm looking for EURUSD to turn around. We've had a big drop to the downside. We're now trading at some really big lows around this level here at 1.06841, which lines up with that massive low there on the left as well. Excuse me. So I do expect to see a bounce here for EURUSD. How far? That's a different question. There's a big level just above us here, which I think will be a great target to have, at least for this week anyway, back to 1.07800. That's kind of the bounce I'm looking at for Euro. Now, Euro is not my favorite pair at the moment. There's a few other markets which look a lot better, which I'll get into at some point. But if we can hold this, see some rejection there, I think this could be a nice buy. A little bit aggressive because you're kind of going against the momentum, so it's a bit more counter trend. But you are trading from a confident area where the market has shown a lot of respect to previously. So I would be keeping an eye on that. Looks like hourly chart is slowing down. It'd be nice if you could see a bit more rejection on the full hour there. But if things do develop, there could be a nice buy kind of early this week, taken into the end of the week, really, back to retest that zone. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for EURUSD. Possibly we could go a lot further, but I think for the week anyway, push back into the area makes a lot of sense. Pound USD still correctively moving to the downside in that descending channel. A little bit boring, to be honest. Kind of waiting for price to give us a breakout. I was looking for price to break to the upside on Friday. We were seeing some momentum, but we kind of failed to clear this resistance here. And that's the same area I was mentioning on my weekly analysis, that if price can actually break through this area, then I think the buys look, excuse me, very, very clear going into the remainder of the week, because a break of that, not only do you break out the descending channel, of course, breaking structure by breaking that resistance as well. So the buys above that will look really, really good. But at the moment, price is still kind of trading in that channel, and we could be seeing another push back into the lows. And who knows, maybe price gives us another bearish leg to the lower end of the channel again. So we're just kind of fluctuating in that range. As long as we stay in that, I'm not really interested in price with pound USD, because I'm looking for that momentum. And all of this is just very, very corrective behavior. So until we see some breakouts, momentum, I'm not really focused on pound USD. Yes, it's kind of a strong area, but I'm not really a big fan of the price action with pound at the moment. Looking at dollar CAD, again, still trading at major level of resistance on the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. Again, we've seen a bit of indecision with last week's candles, small doji candle, wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside. So again, naturally looking for sells in this area, not really interested with the buys. Not that we can't break through, it's just, especially as a swing trader, this is not the time to be looking to place longs. If you're looking to hold a trade, sure, if you're in the lower time frames, you might be able to hold a trade for the afternoon, for the day potentially. and walk away with a nice trade. But if you're looking to hold trades here, it doesn't really make too much sense. You want price to break through, or you're looking for the reversal. And that's kind of what I'm looking at with dollar CAD, looking for that reversal. There's a high here, which prices seem to be respecting pretty well, 1.39450. Nice rejection over there. Second time again. Looks like we could be coming back for a third time and possibly another rejection. Now, we are still pretty consistent with the higher lows, so I would watch out and not look for the home run straight away, because there's a chance we react, but we just end up forming another higher low and price tries to break higher. So I'd watch out for that situation. And if you do break structure, great, then there could be a really big move to be had with dollar CAD. Of course, USD will play a big role. If USD is going to hold the level I'm looking at, then there's a lot of room for USD CAD to roll into as well. But at the moment, I do think we can bounce from that high. Just I wouldn't expect the world from dollar CAD. In terms of Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then we'll take a look at gold and silver. Aussie dollar, again, strongly to the upside, comes straight back down. Looks like that level on the left and the daily is doing a pretty good job at holding price. I was looking for a bigger pullback there for Aussie dollar, but unfortunately doesn't look like I'm getting it. I was hoping we could push back to some of these areas around 0.68. Maybe it was a bit optimistic, but reasonably, if you look at price action, how we're trading, I don't want to be trading inside these areas here. It's just a very, very choppy, chaotic market. It looks like a big range. So if I'm going to get involved, it's at the highs or at the lows. And I'm still expecting Aussie dollar to make its way to the low end of the range here, because it's had such a big rejection at the high. So just kind of keeping in tune, in sync with what price is doing. There's a good chance we're probably going to push the lows anyway. And it looks like we are rejecting that level there, and that could send us down to go and test that same level there as well. So with Aussie dollar, looks like continuation might be the likely move here. Even in the lower time frames, it looks likely. I wouldn't mind a short as we approach the high again. Say price was to do something like this. I think that's a nice trade there, and the retest of the low. Not the biggest pullback in the world, so I'm not really interested myself, but that's kind of what I'd be expecting for Aussie dollar. Certainly if we can get a break of this low here, I think if we can get a break of 0.654, that'll be a catalyst to really get price selling off and probably into that daily level. And if you take a look at USD, which is a similar situation, again, looking for price to get to that daily low, which again, as we can see, price is ranging, massive resistance above us. We've got key support below us. It looks like price is just naturally just going to nestle back at support again. I was looking for the retest of this area, hoping to see a pullback, retest that, then the continuation. But it just looks like USD is just way too bearish, and it's just going to slowly roll over. Again, if you're looking to get involved with this one, I'll be looking at shorts right back at the highs again. As we come back into this area, that's where you're looking to place your shorts now, since price is respected a couple times. 3 actually, 1, 2, 3. So back there again would be a nice place to base a stop loss from. And looking for price to continue rolling over. If we do have that bigger pullback, great. I'll keep an eye out for that. 0.612 is the area I'm looking at, but looks pretty unlikely at the moment. And then looking at gold and silver, I do like these. I think silver is very much my preferred out of them in terms of the opportunity. Again, I'm looking at some buys for gold because I'm still pretty bullish on it. Also discussed last week some sells around this area here as well, because we had that brief consolidation, big drop to the downside. That looks like a nice area where price can test it and probably see some downside there as well. My only kind of advice would be not to be too optimistic with the sells and look for a home run. So the chances are we might see a reaction, but it probably might just give us a higher low at some stage, and price might keep pushing on. So you might want to be aggressive with the trade management. But I like this area down here around 26.40. If price gets there, I will look for buys, but I'm more focused on silver. So I'm actually just going to wait for that opportunity because it's a better opportunity than this one. But again, as long as gold does not take out this low here on the left, which is 26.05, because that is the low that gave us the high. As long as gold does not take out that low, I'm still anticipating upside overall and a continuation of the high time frame trend. And if you shift over to silver again, I'm looking for buys, and this is the area I'm looking at around 30.1. Really, that's where I'm looking for buys. It also lines up pretty well with some higher lows the market is making on the daily chart, because we have broken through that 32.5 area. So I've lost that confluence, but hopefully this newfound level can be my support and push us to the upside. I'm only looking for a reaction. If I can get silver back into the high here, I think that's a great trade in itself. I drop to the 4 hour. If I can get a reaction off that level back to that same area, hopefully maybe a lot further, but we'll have to see. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD markets.